Hey everybody, Chris Bober here and Jen Bober with Team Bober at Nebraska Realty. Welcome back. We're on Facebook Live today, and you're going to see this across all kinds of social media platforms. So today we're going to be finishing up our series on what does it cost to sell my house. I finally got my teammate, my life and real estate partner Jennifer to come and do this with me. She's such a big part of the team, and everyone's been demanding that she gets on these things with me. So here she is.
Hi everyone, I'm excited to be here with Chris and just be a part of these posts as much as possible. And if you've been a client of ours, you know me well. I'm in the weeds with you, so for those of you that don't, here I am, and yeah, it's the two of us always.
Alrighty, so we live our life together and we sell real estate together too. So let's get into what we're talking about today. And of course, when we do this, we want to talk about what's important to us, and this is our mission, is to educate and empower our clients to make great real estate decisions. And these things are going to go on our blog and our social media, and our promise to that is to provide current and valuable information to help consumers understand the real estate market and process so they can navigate the market with confidence. So that's what we're here to do, to make you feel comfortable and hopefully show confidence to call us to help you go through that process. So the series we've started this month and we're continuing to and then finishing up today was about the cost of selling your house. And this came about because a lot of people understand that there's a cost and you're going to have to save up to buy a house. But what they don't understand is that there's often a cost to sell your house.
Absolutely.
And how many times are people surprised when we get into the transaction, like, how am I supposed to pay for this? Because they didn't plan. Yeah. So initially we talked about the cost of sale. And most of this comes out of your proceeds, but there's professional services fees, there's title and escrow, there's BAC fees, there's tax prorations, there's things that are in there. We talked about that. We also talked about the cost or benefit of updating your property, the cost of preparation as it is. Mm-hmm. We went through that. Today we're going to talk about the cost of repair. Now, I kind of jokingly call this the cost of regret, because if you don't go through and do the updates, you end up having to do the repairs in a time crunch.
Right.
And it usually costs more.
Yeah, and it's so important to be in a position of strength when you're going into this selling process. We want to make sure we front load that, give you time to make the decision slowly, and that really puts you in more of a powerful situation as a seller. And so that's a really big deal. We don't really want it to get to this, but
absolutely. That's why it's important to come to us early in the process.
Yeah.
And then we're going to finish this up today, kind of combine these and talk about over the total cost recap. So getting into this thing here, oh, you know what? I put a quote up here. I love these quotes. It's better to look ahead and prepare than to look back and regret. All right, definitely. You're going to pay a price somewhere. Might as well pay it at the beginning and experience that on your time than to do it on someone else's time and regret not doing it.
More hands in the pot.
Absolutely. So, all right. When it comes to the home inspection, this is what happens is when they write a purchase contracts, almost 100% of the time, they're going to have a home inspection contingency.
Yeah, and so contingency is a little bit of a real estate jargon, and so the way that I approach it or I look at it as I'm working with people is through the process of any purchase contract, there are periods of little stop signs that we all have to kind of stop, agree upon, and this home inspection contingency is one of those stop signs. And so, there's three options when you're selling your home and there's a home inspection involved. The buyer can take it as is after that home inspection. They can deem it after the home inspection is unsatisfactory and walk away. Or what most of the time happens is you all come to that stop sign, agree on the fixes and how we're going to move forward, and then it kind of removes that and we move forward.
That's right, and so it's a very important part of the process, and we're breaking it down to the three main areas of concern, and we'll go into them a little bit here. The structural integrity of the house is a big deal. The health and safety issues are a big deal, and of course, there's maintenance issues too.
Health and safety, and we'll dig into this a little more, but and everybody wants their families healthy and safe, and so that's one we really run into often.
Absolutely. So if we look at the structural integrity, of course, that talks about the integrity of the home. And what buyers expect when they purchase a home, it's kind of a minimum standard is that it's going to stand on its own. It doesn't have damage that's going to debilitate the property. So that's what's such a big deal. And what happens is if there's anything that's wrong with the structure or any signs of that, it indicates latent defects. Now, latent defects are things that are hidden, and they oftentimes call for additional inspections. For the exterior, the paint, the roof, the windows, the siding, the gutters, these are all things that if you keep those up, someone can feel pretty good about that there hasn't been water intrusion, that there's not damage that's hidden, and they feel good about it. On the interior, some of the things that come up are the foundation issues, cracked walls, uneven floors. And what happens with the integrity is that so many times the inspectors, he's not a structural engineer. So if he sees any indication of something that's wrong, they're going to ask for additional specialist inspections. That continues the process of the contingency,
Yep.
and it actually opens up, who knows, a Pandora's box of repairs.
You know, then you're looking at HVAC professionals, electrical professionals, plumbing professionals, and they're professionals for a reason, because they're experts in their field, and they come at a cost. And so they should, because they're the professionals, but for the homeowner selling, that can just really rack up quickly depending on what that home inspector comes back with.
Yeah, so structural integrity is a big deal. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the things you can do, but let's go into a little bit more on the next part, which is health and safety. Now, this is to deal with potential health risks, and this is one of the highest concerns of buyers because it creates potential risk. People just don't like any sort of risk when it goes into, I mean, there's inherent risk automatically, but they want to minimize as much of the risk as possible. So on an inspection report, you see health and safety issues. That's where these come up. Electrical code violations are a big one. As you can imagine, a buyer does not want their house burning down because of electrical problems. So ground fault interrupters, grounding the gas line, different electrical code violations are a major red flag and almost always have to be fixed by a qualified electrician, which costs money.
Right.
Moisture issues. Water can really do some damage.
Yeah.
And water intrusion in the house in any form, it can leave residue behind, and then it could lead to mold and mildew. That creates a much bigger problem there. And of course, radon. Radon is a colorless, odorless gas that comes out of the soil. It's somewhat random, and about 50% of the time in Nebraska, the radon's a little high. So Jen will tell you about when she's showing houses.
Just to reiterate for a minute, health and safety is literally a title in a summary of a home inspection, and a lot of times you'll see the buyer go straight to that, and because that's their biggest concern. And so, I mean, literally in paper form, that's how it's laid out. So it's interesting and just good to know that they go straight kind of that section usually. As I'm out working with buyers, which I have so much fun doing, this is a big one, and if a home has a radon mitigation system already installed, that is a huge advantage. It's one of the things that makes people really consider purchasing that property, just because they know that doesn't even have to be a worry for them and their family. And so, not that I'm saying everybody needs to go out and get a radon test done, but people have done it and they find out they need the mitigation system, and it's a great way to spend their money, in my opinion.
And so many times within a contract, if it's found to have radon, the seller pays for it. It's about $800, $900 for a system. The last one here, carbon monoxide. This is something now that our city has caught up with. It requires carbon monoxide detectors on every habitable level. So anywhere you can put a person into, basement, main floor, second floor, wherever, has to have CO.
You literally
detectors.
cannot close on a property without these, and quite frankly, we all should have them in our homes anyways, just for your own family.
Yeah, they're
safety.
right up there with smoke detectors.
Yeah, $20, Menards, easy, very easy thing.
Yep. All right. So the last one. This is maintenance, and as you can tell right there, we did not put cosmetic stuff up because sometimes cosmetic issues come up in an inspection. We're not gonna; those are hit or miss. So we're going to talk about these things that are real concerns here. So let's talk about maintenance issues. Just so you know, the regular service records, they do so much to ease the buyer's concerns. If someone goes into there and they see a sticker on a furnace that it had been regularly maintained for several years, they feel really good about that. It's much easier to show that it's been maintained than to prove its functionality. So your furnace might have zero problems with it, but if they don't see that sticker or they don't have a record of the maintenance, they're going to want it inspected further. Again, that opens up who knows what. So HVAC, start your service right away. I don't care when you're going to sell your house. It's just good sense to start a maintenance record. Whether you do it or you have a company do it, keep records of it, and that way you can show them. All right, we have some great people we can recommend too. Keep all appliance warranty and service paperwork. Okay, so many times when you sell your house, you're going to sell the fridge and the dishwasher and things like that. If there's any warranties on anything in your house or you've had it fixed, just keep a record of that, and then you give that to them before the inspection, and they won't ask to have further things done. It's a great benefit when someone had windows put in and there's still a warranty on them, or the roof. Right. Warranties typically transfer to the next owner, so that's a big deal. Repair any minor issues before they become major issues. We gave some examples of that, but that's just common sense maintenance. Some examples of that are maybe some exterior issues. You got some paint chipping. Go out and fix it up.
Yep.
Go inspect your windows, and if you see any cracks in the caulk, go and fix that when it's warm outside, so you don't get water intrusion. If there's a crack in your sidewalk, have that sealed before it becomes a major issue. Those kind of things make a big deal later down the road. All right, so let's talk about the money here. What's the expected cost? And it's much cheaper to maintain than to repair, and the time and emotions affect the decisions within a sale. Believe me, when you have 30 days to get this thing done and get it closed, a lot of stress gets put on the situation when these repairs have to be done, and sometimes the other side will exploit that.
Right.
Here's a few examples. Just want to show you a couple of examples of maybe how preventative maintenance versus repairs can show up. How about your HVAC? $100 or $200 a year for a service contract, pretty cheap, versus thousands of dollars of replacement costs. Number one is if you don't have it maintained, you open yourself up to having those things broken. Number two, if they want to have it further investigated, they can find something in there that costs you a lot of money. HVAC is a big one. People want heat during the winter, of course. Windows, a couple $100 per window if you replace them over time as you see them, versus 1.5 escrow for future repairs. Explain that a little bit.
So we have had experiences before where there were a few windows that needed to be replaced, and the other thing, once you're in the middle of a transaction, you're on a ticking time clock. And so this came up in the inspection. We're trying to reach out, but the window company was like 3 months out, well past closing, and now we have to put money in escrow. That isn't something people innately understand. It's another level of things that maybe could have been avoided if handled before, if you had the time to handle that before you put your house on the market. But it just leads to, there's so much of this in real estate, lots of emotion, and when you're getting to the inspection, it's sort of rising, and having to have another level to the contract and so basically what we had to do was schedule it months out, take that exact amount, and then there's all these little nuances that come with holding money in escrow, and we're always happy to hold your hand and support you through that and make sure you understand it, but it just creates something else in the transaction, and so giving yourself that time to maybe address some of those things 1-2 years out really puts you in that strong position.
Yeah, definitely worth doing as maintenance rather than repairs.
Under a rush situation.
Another example here, this is a common one, $100 to $300 of moisture cleanup, right? You forget to put the downspout on after the winter and you get a spring rain, you get water in the basement. Go have that cleaned up, have it done right, and have it or the grading fixed. If you don't do that, it keeps on happening. All of a sudden, you got mold, and that comes up in an inspection. And mold remediation gets super expensive, right? So there's an example of maintenance versus regret or repair right there. So there's tons of examples out there that we can definitely help you out with. But let's kind of recap this whole thing. We talked about the total cost of sale. Number one, the cost of sale, a lot of fixed costs. We have professional services fees, title and escrow, BAC. Anywhere from 6 to 10% of your purchase price is going to go towards that. Then we have the cost of preparation. This is done as needed over time. There's no real dollar number to it, but there is a cost to it. The cost to repair, anywhere from 5 to 10%. Of course, it's going to be less if maintained over time. And if you add it up to sell your home, a general rule of thumb is we say take about 10 to 20% of your home's value and have that set aside either in some cash or in a checking account, whatever. And then, or don't plan on using it out of your proceeds because there's going to be costs to sell your house. You have to know that those are there, and you just can't expect to get 100% of your proceeds all the way out of your transaction.
Well, and I think a very basic idea is you can either have the cash and pay for those repairs, and some people are in that position, but it also can come off of your proceeds. I don't know that everybody innately gets that. And so it can be worked out if you don't have that percentage of cash sitting in hand. There are ways.
But that's not a great position of strength, and the other side could exploit that, definitely.
That's exactly my thought. Thank you for finishing it.
I finish your thoughts a lot. So, all right. So again, just to recap this whole thing, the total cost to sell your home is going to vary depending on your situation. There's no way to put one number on it. We do know that there is a cost, though. We always recommend saving too much versus saving too little. So when you meet with us about your home, we're going to help you get started on that plan right away, a maintenance plan and a savings plan. You want to call a qualified realtor for their expert guidance before selling. And again, when you look at us, we're here to help you years before you think about selling. Of course, when you call us, we want to go sell your house. But if we get you in a position to where when you do decide to sell, you've prepared, you've put maintenance in there, you've replaced a couple things that need to be done. You get to listing, put it on sale, inspection comes out pretty good. That's a much, much easier transaction. And it's easier for us to help you through that if we can help you in the beginning than try to help you at the end. Now, of course, you want to talk about a qualified realtor. Here's our information. Of Of course, Jen and I work as a team. As you can see, we have different strengths and weaknesses. I'm here on the camera doing this thing. Jen, so many times she's out there. She's in the trenches. Kind of reminds me of my old football days. She's out there in the trenches battling, and I'm helping her out, supporting her, and vice versa. So if you do, would appreciate having a great team to help you sell your home, or to help buy a home, or invest, or build, whatever it is. Be sure to call us. Here's our information: Chris at NebraskaRealty.com, Jay Bober, NebraskaRealty.com. All this stuff is going to be on our blog at teambober.com. Go on there, check it out. And if you have any questions, or you're looking to buy, sell, build, or invest in the Omaha real estate market, call the pros at Team Bober. We'll tackle the market for you. Have a great day.